Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ryan Wall, for those of you who don't know me. I have a song I want to share with you that I wrote back in 1998. But before I do, I'd like to tell you a little story to help you understand why the song was written and what it's done for me in my life. The moral of this story is that sometimes when you reach out to help other people, you find the help that you were looking for all along but didn't realize was there. I was reborn back in 1987 through tremendous coincidence and different circumstances that happened in my life, which, anyone that knows me personally would know that I'm very candid about and have always kind of shared my beliefs and everything with, whether they liked it or not. And I want to tell you this story, that one person in my life that I hadn't met up until 1998, and how she had such a profound impact on just knowing her, and she still has no idea whatsoever just how profound it was. Her name is Sandra Compton. She's a group benefits employee at the Agriculture and Forestry building in Baton Rouge, where in 1998 I was a trustee while incarcerated, working in the free world. I had met Miss Compton shortly after working there at the Agriculture and Forestry building, and had only known her about 2 weeks before a terrible accident happened. I went in on a Monday morning and saw how people were gathered around in small groups, and they were all concerned, some were crying, and I just couldn't help it. When I didn't see Miss Sandra there, I went outside of my means of discipline and out of an act of character, and I asked her friend, when I wasn't really supposed to talk to her at all, if something had happened to Miss Sandra. And she looked at me with deep sorrow in her eyes and said, yes, she was in an accident on her way to church yesterday, and we really don't know how things are going to turn out for her. This was a very trying time for me in my life, having been down for 3 months and having not ever prayed from that point yet, because I felt, through an arrogant and proud manner that I was, saying to God, I hope you'll be more proud of me that I can do this on my own without having to reach out. But I was at fault. I was at deep fault in my life. And I was reminded on this day when 3 months later, after her terrible accident, I was pushing my buffer and I noticed her name tag sitting in her cubicle. And I stopped my buffer, and I put my head down and I started to pray. And when I did, tears formed in my eyes. And the first thing that went through my mind as I began to pray, and the first thing that was inspired towards God, was out of anger. And I said just clearly in the prayer, God, why her? Why Sandra? Why somebody so beautiful, so nice? And when I say to you that I got an answer that came within seconds of this thought going through my mind, it was in thunder that lifted me 2 feet off the ground as the lights shuttered. And I cried openly, out loud, oh my God, was that thunder? And her same friend that I had asked her about, stuck her head out of her cubicle, and she said in the kindest, gentlest, humorous way, what the hell you think that was? And I said, ma'am, I said, I have no idea. And then I looked up at the clock, and it was a few minutes past break time, which, could put me in jeopardy of losing my job and being rode out and having disciplinary action taken against me. So I politely dismissed myself and ran to the elevator, where I went downstairs and entered the atrium. And as I walked into the atrium, there was sunlight beaming through the skylights. And I thought I went past the atrium, I went out the back door, and as I went out the back door, there was a glistening of mist going by, and it was just starting to rain, and the sun was still shining through it, and it was really a beautiful scene. And there was a little prism up in the sky as I looked up. And I've often, thought myself that since reading the Bible, that when you see a prism like that or a rainbow, that there's a special relationship that happens to you spiritually between you and your environment and God. And I feel that there's a little message in each one. And the message I got from this one was like if somebody just whispered in my ear, Ryan, you're going to be free when you're ready to be free, and you're going to find someone new to cherish and love, and you'll know this time she came with blessings from above. And I went and wrote it down and took it back to break with me, and then eventually on to the prison, where I turned it into a song that night. And over time, as I grew spiritually, little pieces of the song came together more and more. And then once I was home, I was working at a job about 4 months after I had been home or so, and I was working at a house and it was freezing cold. I went outside to get a tool, and when I went to go open the hatch to my Cherokee, something fluttered over my left shoulder. And then when I turned to look up to my right shoulder, there was a little green and red lovebird sitting on my right shoulder. And I reached over and he actually gave me a little kiss right that first moment. So as I went in the house, the lady of the house came to the door, and she was astounded, just totally amazed, and she shut the door and she's like, you know, I said, does anybody lose a bird? And she said, well, no, but my little girl wants a bird. She's been asking for a bird. So do you want him? So I ended up giving them the bird. And after my former employer, Ron, told me, you know, after I was a little discouraged that I had given him away, he said, you know, Ryan, when you do something nice for somebody, it comes back to you. And, you know, I think this will pay itself back. And I have no doubt in my mind that it did. Because 4 months later, I walked into a restaurant on my lunch break, and I met a young girl after my employee that was with me told me that she was kind of checking me out. And I said, there's no way that this beautiful young lady, you know, would have anything to do with me. But getting the courage up, I went and got her number. And on our second date, as we were talking about her parents living in River Ridge. And it turns out that she was the person that was the older daughter who actually had looked after the bird for 2 weeks when it went to stay with her parakeets when the grandfather came and got the bird from her house. And now she's my wife. So I want to sing this song for you now, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that you reflect back in the verse and realize that 4 years before my wife and I met, I had wrote this song, and there was a message in it for me, and I believe for anyone else that out there that's agnostic or that's atheist that doesn't believe, because there are things happening every day in your life that are trying to guide you. And I hope you can feel some breath of fresh air by hearing this song. Peace. Remember in the day, it's been a while ago since I learned misfortune had brought you such awful pain. When now dazed and confused about what happened to you, lacking faith to believe your life could ever be the same. As time went by, not seeing you left me feeling so helpless and discouraged, thinking there was nothing I could do. Then I woke up and bowed my head and put my hands together, and I began to pray for you. I boldly questioned why you was a tear formed in each eye, never really expecting to hear a reply. But just as fast as a lightning bolt illuminates a dark sky, thunder, don't question me, son, and now don't you cry, because sometimes even my angels fall, but they always get back up as soon as I call. He said sometimes even his angels fall, but they always get right back up soon as he calls. Then he said, look up, I humbly did, and he warmly smiled at me and promised one day soon enough I will set you free, and you will find someone new to cherish and love. And you will know this time she came with blessings from above. So go out and fight evil as best you can, and I'll see you one day in my promised land, because I know what is in your heart is pure. 'Cause my begotten Son touched you so long ago with his cure. When you came up from that water with tears of joy in your eyes, Spirit descended upon you like a dove from the sky. There may still be weakness to desire. Don't let it bring you down. Don't punish yourself or judge others. Remember who suffered the crown of those thorns upon his head, so you all would understand that you're not perfect. He's there to help you be, to lead you by your hand. So if by chance misfortune should ever find you, remember your broken bones, your hearts will mend. Have faith, it's true. So go on now, you have your whole life to live. Keep in touch and never turn down help when you have it to give. And be thankful for the blessings of our grace. And be, when you leave this world, your dreams come true eternally. Oh, your beautiful dreams eternally. Thank you, y'all. God bless you, and I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for the spirit that he cast in my will to make me do the things I do. Thank you all for listening and for spreading the word. Peace.